Hi! Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are. Thank you so much for joining the cross-country collaboration webinar. As you can see, we have quite a few viewers, quite a few people who have joined, so thank you so much. We're so glad that this is our second webinar. It's a cross-country collaboration webinar, and today's webinar is all about connecting, supporting, and networking with other YES alumni from other countries, other YES countries around the world. So we are so used to our YES alumni participating and implementing these amazing activities and projects in their own communities. But we thought it would be awesome if we shared some tips and knowledge about how we can connect with other countries, other YES alumni in countries around the world. So if you're excited, say woohoo! Awesome. We have a lot of great speakers today. I don't know, Gloria, if you want to mention some of the speakers we have here.
Yeah.
We have Jennifer Russell from the from iEARN-USA. Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer is the director of education at iEARN-USA. So we're very happy to have you. And we also have her colleague, Héla. Héla, can you please pronounce your last name so we can all? I'm sorry,
I'm gonna unmute you.
Exactly as you spell it. It's Nafti. Héla Nafti.
Yes, Héla Nafti. Yes, thank you so much. And she is the, iEARN Tunisia Country Coordinator. Yes, so she'll be with us as well, presenting with Jennifer as well.
Yeah, and they both have a long, strong relationship of working virtually. You know, a lot of times they don't really get a chance to meet physically, but they've worked on so many different projects, regardless of where they are. Héla's traveling even currently, and she took the time to honor us with her presence, and they'll be speaking about some of the tips and strategies they've used and all the projects they've been working on throughout the years.
Yes, I'm really excited because their chemistry is awesome, and I think they're really awesome at building. They've been building relationships virtually. Yes, heart. So we're really excited to hear from you all. And then we have
pretty infamous alumna, Shebi.
Yes.
Who is a
rockstar
alumni coordinator out in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
And she actually recently did a project that involved many different YES alumni from several different countries. And she's going to be talking about what that project was, how she started it, some of the tips and strategies she used to implement and develop that project, and even share out about it after it was completed.
Yeah. Great. I'm really excited. Shebi's a rock star. So I'm really excited to hear about your project. Just before we start, we just have a few house rules, not house rules, but some house directives. If you've been at a YES alumni webinar before, you probably already know this, but we are using a new platform. So we're excited about that. But we want to make sure that you are muting your mics. So in order to make this webinar as effective and seamless as possible, it's just very important that you mute your mic so that you can hear and that there are no distractions. Also, if you'd like to raise your hand to ask a question, you can go ahead and do that. Am I not close enough?
No, we're just going to be closer.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So also, please know that Gloria and I we are regulating the chat. So you can also ask questions throughout the webinar, and then please don't think that we're ignoring your question. We will be collecting questions at the end for our Q&A. So there will be a mini Q&A session with our presenters at the end of this webinar.
Yes. We also want the chat to be very interactive. So if there are people, I know we have several staff, country coordinators, and alumni who have experience working on cross-country projects, feel free to share your tips here. You know, throw in some questions, add some commentary. We want to keep it live and interactive and very conversational.
Yes.
Great. So first to begin, we're going to have a presentation from Héla and Jen. So I'm going to disappear. But Jen and Héla are going to begin their presentation.
Great, and thank you so much, Hannah and Gloria. Just a quick check if the screen share is looking good on your end and for the participants. All right. Great. And then Héla, if you want to unmute as well, as we're going to pass back and forth. Let's make sure we can hear you okay. Okay, so Héla and I are excited to share today, and we wanted to start a bit about our collaboration together, as we have been working together for about 5 years. So today we're going to share about experience from iEARN, which is the organization we work for with teachers and students around the world, but also our insights in working on many different programs and roles together over the years. So it's been 5 years since I've been working with Héla, and we've worked together on 2 education programs that have been connecting teachers and students in the US, in Tunisia, and in other countries in the Middle East and North Africa. And recently, for the past year, we've also been members together of the iEARN Executive Council, which is like a managing group for the 140 countries that are in our network. So we have meetings twice a week and work on many tasks together as part of different programs and the executive council that we worked on together. And we also share together and do video conference presentations related to our work like this one, and have connected many times. So I'm going to pass the mic to Héla to share any of her reflections before we jump into our work. But I just wanted to say, as we were preparing for this webinar, we were reflecting that in our 5 years of working together, we've only met in person once. And that is in this photo in Doha, Qatar in 2013.
Yeah. Exactly. That was what I was going to say. In fact, we only met once, but we are so close because we are sharing so many things together. We are sharing our experience first, and as you can see on the photo, we are so different. We come from different countries, but yet we are close. This program really helps the intergeneration phase, and so we are different but still working together leads us to have very, very close ties. And this is the magic of internet and the magic of online collaboration.
Great. And I'm very excited I get to see Héla again in July in Morocco this summer. So
yeah, hopefully again, that will be the second time.
So I wanted to share just a bit about the work that Héla and I do together, because we're going to be drawing on the experience and wisdom of not only our cross-country collaboration and working together, but also teachers and students around the world. So Héla and I work with iEARN, which is the International Education and Resource Network. If you've heard about it, maybe you can share a thought in the chat box. And essentially what we do is use the power of the internet to connect teachers and students around the world to work on projects together. So I know YES Alumni working on many awesome projects in the community, and this webinar today is how you can take your projects and connect with others online. So we hope to be able to share some good experience from working with this really big network that we have across, as Héla was mentioning, diversity and different countries and ages and experiences. I'm going to share just a bit about the history, and then Héla is going to share a little bit more about the kind of projects that we do. So we started doing this in 1988. Before there really was the internet. So I think this is just an example of how no matter how far apart we are, we can make use of whatever tools we have to connect and learn with one another. So iEARN started in 1988 in New York and in Moscow. Then it was the Soviet Union. This is a time where you couldn't really travel and work together on projects. And so using the connective technologies that were available at the time was the way to share experiences and work on projects together. Okay, I'm going to pass to Héla to share more about what we do today.
Yeah, our project-based learning is the pedagogy that we have adopted, and it is really a learner-centered pedagogy where students have a voice, and this is extremely important. Students are learning, they're not only taught in the classroom. And what happens is our projects are about all walks of life, and they also link directly to school curricula. Of course, they are they deal with the environment, cultural diversity, social problems, whatever whatever projects you can have. And we start from very beginning with primary school kids and go up to secondary education, which is fantastic. We also have in Tunisia students at university dealing with our projects. What is interesting is that the interaction is asynchronous. You don't have to be online all the time. Whenever you have time, you can share your project. Teachers in the classroom in many countries don't have access to internet, which is not a real issue because teachers can just use a device that can help them connect when they can. Otherwise, students can use different formats and then post them on the discussion forums and all the media that are offered to them on our platform. And so this is open to, I would say, to students and teachers all over the world because we are using lots of languages and students can use the language that is very easy for them to use and connect with our students around the world. And as I said earlier, the subject areas are also diverse and anyone can find a topic that relates immediately to the curricula they are working on.
Great. So we wanted to share just a bit about what we do. I hope that you'll also take the opportunity, if you're a YES alumni in this webinar, to share what kind of projects that you are working on or plan to do, because this is also a space where you can connect with other alumni and hear what others are doing. So we wanted to draw from this experience of teachers and students around the world to share what we've learned about collaborating across different countries. And using technology. And so, you know, Héla was mentioning the asynchronous. Sometimes you're not always able to connect live like we are right now, and that being a big part of how we connect. So there's some photos up here of the different kinds of people that are connecting around the world, and sometimes across different ages and definitely languages and cultures and backgrounds.
Yeah, I can see, if we just come back to that slide, yes, what we can see here is those students putting their heads together, thinking together and sharing with other students around the world. This is very important. Our projects really favor 21st century skills. And critical thinking is, of course, among them. Collaboration is among them. There is also that picture from Tunisia where students are sharing pictures about their traditional costumes as well as traditional food, because they are celebrating a day about traditional food and costumes. And this is happening around the world, and the countries share their own views, and that's cultural diversity, of course.
Yes. So between all of these different people and projects that are connecting different subjects, one thing that we found is very helpful is it's important to establish a common goal. So as you're thinking about connecting with other YES alumni, different centers, and working on projects together, it's important to have a common aim or goal that you're working towards. For iEARN, the big goal of all of the more than 100 projects is how will this project improve the quality of life on the planet? And we're also looking at each of the project tying to a sustainable development goal. So that might be something you're thinking about in your projects as well, tying to a greater goal, a global goal and that being a focus that binds your work in different countries. And that's something that we've done at iEARN. And also there's a strong service connection and community service element to projects as well, that even though we're connecting and learning about each other globally, we bring in a local service element. So that's an important thing.
Yeah, definitely, Jennifer. I just want to add that we are really working on developing the Sustainable Development Goals because they are meaningful. And I think for the YES alumni students, this is where to start. It's fantastic to start with projects and also to build this idea of community service. That helps a lot, and you think that very little, but it is not. It is one drop that can help the planet, because there will be other drops around the world, and this is what makes the idea of really changing and improving the quality of life on the planet.
Exactly. So we have just 2 more slides that get really practical and tip-wise if you're thinking about connecting across different countries and centers to share your work. These are some things that have been learned by our network and we're sharing here. So Héla and I will share back and forth, and then we're going to share our own advice in our 5 years of working together, things we've noticed that have really helped us along the way. So our collaboration strategies we've seen around the network, and you'll see from the way we started as well, it's all about building relationships. You know, even though you may have very serious focused goals with the exact specific project you're doing in your community or how you're developing your alumni association, when you're connecting across countries, it's important to also build personal relationships and take time to get to know about each other, you know, hopes and dreams and goals, families and things like this, because it really helps with the collaboration if you have that connection with someone else. I'll let Héla share something from the list now.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that taking time to get to know each other is of paramount importance. And just a souvenir that comes to my mind when there was an earthquake, I remember in Japan. Well, we were really related to that earthquake because we had our partners in Japan, and we talked to them. Same thing for other issues that can happen around the world. So you get to know people when you talk to them, and when you ask about them, when you ask about what is happening in their country. Yes, connecting with a group of partners is also very important, is a very good strategy. We also honor local working styles. Working styles are very different, but they are all important for us and can be shared by anyone. So it is good to celebrate it, celebrate diversity, as Jennifer said earlier, age, gender, nationality, race, and culture. This is our wealth. Our wealth is our diversity, and it should be celebrated. This is something you can do as YES alumni, and you'll find it so fruitful when it comes to have a strategy to work on. Also, the projects can be extended, and with all these ideas of collaboration, there are always new projects, new themes to be developed. What I always think about, and maybe this is a tip, attend as many workshops as you can. And I think for the YES alumni, this is something that can be easily done, because when you attend workshops, you learn from others. You learn what others are doing, you learn from their mistakes, and you learn from their strengths as well. So this is something that is very important. And of course, keep in mind the calendar, time zone differences, and availability. And maybe Jennifer, you can share with us what happened to us with these problems of time zone differences.
Sure. And actually, I'm going, that's to our personal tips and advices we've been working together over the years on here. You know, Héla and I, we have very frequent calls and are working together and collaborating online. And you don't know how many emails we send back and forth about what time are we meeting, and how frequently we also show up at the wrong time. So when you're working around the world, you know, it's going to happen. You're going to have time zone misunderstandings all of the time. So it's important to, you know, maybe even set a regular time that you connect with your partners and you learn with one another. But also, you know, double check and forgive each other if someone is an hour late or an hour early or doesn't show up, because it can be tricky managing time zones. Let's see. And we found this over time to be the case. Some other advice that we have is, I think what's been important and crucial for Héla and I is that we really support each other's work. So if she's doing a workshop or a conference in Tunisia, I'll show up to be there and to share. And likewise, if I'm doing a workshop in the United States, I can always ask Héla, hey, can you come and greet these teachers and say hello and share about, you know, what's happening in Tunisia. So even though it's something we're independently working on, we're interested in supporting each other's work. And I think that's important with you as YES alumni, is especially you may not be doing the exact same project. You may be sharing ideas, but doing things a little bit differently. But you'll learn from each other if you can celebrate and share in each other's work, even if it's not your own sometimes.
Yeah, and I can add that this support is very beneficial. Support and availability. Availability is not a constraint. We are always happy, Jennifer and I, to meet, to support each other, even if we are busy, but we can find some time, because we know that she needs me, I need her, I need to show the support, and she does as well. And when there is a problem, we always talk about it. This is very important as well. We need to share our problems, and we are online, and that's great. You know, sometimes you can be face to face and forget about something, but online you can just send a message and it's there, and you know that she is going to respond or I'm going to do it. And I think that's very important for you alumni to work on that. Also, maybe setting a regular time meeting schedule is good, because in your mind you know that on that day you're going to meet, and so it's there on your agenda, and maybe also in some part of your brain, so you won't forget it. That's very important.
Okay. So I'm going to sum up, and then I'm very excited to hear from the other panelists about her experience in project engaging other countries. So if I were to just summarize, like our main points is relationship building is important, and it can be done using tools, as long as we're flexible with each other, open to people doing things differently or perhaps having a different project or focus. So that relationship building aspect is so important and key. But then, you know, keeping in mind some of the small points of like meeting schedules, dividing tasks and setting goals and keeping each other accountable, that will help you to take the small steps to do a big project in the long run. So we're excited to hear questions at the end, but we'll pause now so we can hear from our other panelists.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jen and Héla. That was awesome. It's awesome to hear how you both have been collaborating so virtually, but you're still so close. So I think that's great to know and to share with our YES alumni, that you can be really close buddies with someone and work collaboratively, even if it's just virtual.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I can't believe that you guys have only met physically once.
I know.
Because the way you guys talk and interact and all the great things you've been doing, it seems like you guys see each other every day.
Yeah.
So I just want to make a little note that when the video is being shared in full screen, or there's a full screen being shared, sometimes the chat box is not visible to everybody. So you can change at the top right corner where you can leave full screen and exit the full screen mode, and that way you can have the chat box on the side and we can keep some chat going on, because I know definitely that there are some alumni in here who have participated in projects and they have been working on those SDGs, and that's something that I feel like we can all benefit from hearing about.
Yeah. So please also feel free to answer questions in the chat. Hopefully the tip Gloria just gave helped. I just want to give a shout out to some Interfaith Reach Out alumni that are here. Nazir and everyone else. Hi. All right, and now we have...
Speaking of interfaith,
right.
We also have our alumni here who participated in interfaith work, and she's now going to present on all the activities she's been doing and her tips and strategies that she wants to share.
Yes.
Thank you everyone for joining us today on the topic of cross-country collaboration in our webinar. Thank you, Héla and Jennifer, for sharing your tips and your amazing and meaningful projects that you've been working on for years and years. It's amazing how you saw each other for only one time in 5 years, and you are doing an amazing job in inspiring both alumni and other people from the society. In the Balkan region, cross-country projects are not a thing from the, not a new thing. They've been, alumni have been collaborating from years and years. This picture is taken actually during one of the trainings in Georgia in August this year. The alumni coordinator of Montenegro and the alumni coordinator of Kosovo, Rina and Nemanja, they've been brainstorming some projects and cross-country collaboration ideas that they want to implement in the upcoming years of their work as alumni coordinators. We've been collaborating also with alumni from the region, both through organizing online campaigns and joint projects and regional workshops, online workshops. But today I want to share with you a project, an initiative that turned into a cross-country collaboration project without me expecting it to reach that many people and to have that many participants from that many countries and all walks of life. So how the idea came, it was in late September when there were protests against accommodation of refugees in my host town, Ruse. Hundreds of people gathered in the Freedom Square in front of the municipality of my town to protest against refugee settlements and to show their hatred and their opinion against those people. Some people were wearing clothes with the signs of blood and honor, which are banned in Russia, in Germany, and Spain. They were shouting slogans such as "Death to the migrants" and "Bulgaria belongs to Bulgarians," "Wake up Bulgarians." Absurd statements were made by the leaders of this march, such as that those refugees coming from outside are potential terrorists or radical Islamists. They do not belong there. They cannot be integrated into the society. We have no schools and no jobs for them. And as I was walking, here you can see the sign, "Wake up Bulgarians." And as I was walking past the protest in the Freedom Square, I heard all of those hateful comments and all that hateful speech from people that are middle-aged, that are parents and that are teaching their children to act and behave the same way. And I was absolutely ashamed. I was disgusted. I was furious at those people. But I also knew that there are people who are willing to support refugees, who are always there with a huge welcoming sign and smiles on their faces, who are willing to support those people, to integrate them into the society, to help them with whatever they can. And I decided to find them. I called the initiative Letters of Hope for Refugees. I asked people from all over the world by making an online post on our Facebook page and invited those people to write a heartfelt message of hope and solidarity to refugees, to express compassion towards their situation by sharing their personal stories or just message of comforting words and just their own personal stories. I posted it on our Facebook page of YES Alumni Bulgaria page, and within a few hours, our post was shared 33 times, and many students, YES alumni or Flex alumni, messaged us on Facebook and asked more about the initiative. They also shared their posts with their social network, with their host families in the States. I also wrote a long email to all the coordinators that we have usually regular monthly meetings with from the Balkan region and asked them to pass the information to their alumni and ask them if they want to contribute to the cause and participate. Also forward that information to their families. And surprisingly, I received many letters written in English and some in Bulgarian or other languages. That was the online support that I received. Also, my placement organization, WordLink in the States, which is based in Kelowna, Iowa, heard about the initiative and they asked their exchange students to reach out to their host families, to their peers and high school classmates, and just tell them about this opportunity, and whoever wants to participate can write a letter and send them to WordLink through them. WordLink collected more than 1,000 letters from exchange students coming from Japan, Brazil, Nicaragua, from Nigeria, from Canada even, all parts of the world and their host families. And they collected those letters and sent them to my home address in Bulgaria. Most of the letters were written in English, some in Bulgarian. I translated them in English. The refugees that are in Bulgaria are usually from Arabic-speaking countries, from the Middle East, and some parts in North Africa. They come from Algeria, Afghanistan, Iraq, from Syria. And I decided that it would be a lot more helpful if the letters are in Arabic. But I could not translate them using Google Translate. We all know that Google Translate does not work for proper translation, and that would have been a mess. And I decided to reach out to my peers from the Interfaith Harmony workshop, which was held in Morocco. There were many students from Arabic-speaking countries who knew the dialect that people from Afghanistan and Syria speak, and they offered their help. I reached out to most of them, and with the support of YES alumni from Tunisia, Morocco, and Gaza, those letters were translated into English. Not all of the 1,200 letters, but only 300 letters, the best of the best. Some of the translators also helped me with ideas saying that, oh, that particular letter does not provide the needed message of compassion. It's just random words, not a personal story. They helped me select those 300 letters. They also translated them neatly and sent them back to me. And this happened through email. More than 1,200 letters were received, and people from 18 countries and 5 continents participated in the initiative. Most of the messages were just comforting words and message of compassion and encouragement, but they were very, very personal and touching stories. One mother who had an abusive marriage and got divorced and now has raised 2 little girls on her own wrote a message to refugees and how the situation will get better and their lives will turn out to be better than they have ever expected. A girl who had undergone various crisis situations and tragedies, and how after a car accident she lost her ability to walk, shared her story in a letter. A boy who was autistic but who found peace by being around horses shared his story. And those were all very powerful stories. When me and my friends and YES Alumni Bulgaria were reading the stories, were proofreading them before sending them and taking pictures of them for translation, just we were crying, and it was very quite emotional to read that kind of stories, and really thought that such stories can impact people, can show them that after various situations of tragedies and crises, situation gets better. And even at the moment, we don't want to believe that something positive can happen. Eventually, it will. And how did the project came to an end? It came to an end after 4 months. We started in early October. The idea came in late September, and we initiated the project in early October. It came to an end in January, late January. We reached out to 2 other NGOs, Caritas Sofia and CVS Bulgaria, who worked together on a long-term initiative called the Refugee Project. They organize not only Bulgarian and English lessons for refugees at the camps in Bulgaria, but they also provide for them cookery lessons, art lessons, music and lessons. They connect adult refugees with job centers. They help them build their skills and their resumes. They take them to trips in Bulgaria so that they can adapt more to the surroundings and to the situation, and they can learn the language and interact with locals. And all of their work is done by volunteers. They spend hours and hours selecting those volunteers. They go through an application process and then several interviews. They have to commit at least 2 hours every week for at least 6 months. And we contacted those 2 NGOs and explained what we're up to, explained what the Letters of Hope initiative was, and we explained that we needed permission to enter those refugee camps. And one of the main organizers of the refugee project helped us gain official permission from the municipality of Sofia, and we managed to spend 2 days at the refugee centers. One with adults. We attended the English lesson, the English lessons they had. And the next day, we attended the Bulgarian lesson for little children, preschoolers. Some of the letters we distributed on the moment, and some we left for them to better explain the initiative when a translator is there, because the translators are just 2, and their time is never enough. They just go here and there from one refugee camp to the other to help with Arabic and English lessons, and the rest is done by volunteers. So we managed to distribute some of the letters on the moment, right at the moment there, and some we left at the camp to be distributed later on. We spent the whole day, one of the days, interacting with refugee children. They were learning the body parts in Bulgarian, and in the end of their lessons, we gave them those little postcards that students from Colorado, one high school in Colorado, had sent to us. They did not understand what was written in there. Many of them do speak English to some extent. They might have catched some words at the postcards, but they were very happy, genuinely happy to receive something from someone. They fought over those cards, looking at the beautiful pictures, and they were like, I don't want this card, I want this card. They were all very cheerful and smiling. They said thank you for the cards. It was just very meaningful to see the impact of our project. Adults cannot express their emotions as children do. They are thankful, but they need to take their time to realize what is happening. But children are just genuinely happy and express their feelings. And it's just something that makes you think what you've done has been powerful and has had some meaning. I learned a few things by doing this cross-country collaboration project. At first, I did not expect that so many people would reply to my offer. The first thing that I learned is not to be afraid to reach out to your YES alumni family, other YES or Flex alumni, or to whoever you think that you might receive help from. The worst thing that can happen is them saying no to you and turn down your offer. And then you just move on and ask someone else until they say yes and agree to collaborate with you. But you have to, in order for them to say yes, you just have to address exactly what you expect from them and exactly what you want from those people. And how they can help you. Is there any additional way? Just to make everything easier for them. For example, when I asked people to translate those letters, I took a picture of the letter, but some of the pictures were quite blurry and I couldn't take a proper picture. So I just had to type in the whole letter and send them to the translators instead of having them zoom in and zoom out to the picture and figure out the text. The second thing, don't be afraid to use social media. Facebook your way. I posted our initiative on Instagram, but Instagram is for visually appealing posts. Emails are long, and young people don't usually like reading that much of just blank, long, dull emails. They want to see something that catches their eye and sparks their imagination and interest, and that way they connect with you. Also, Facebook allows for them to share and to forward to other people your post, to react to your post, to comment, and you can boost your post so it can reach to a wider audience. But Instagram and emails are also a great way. The third thing is to have a plan and to be flexible. Plans change, and there should be room for that change. Plans are never concrete, and other people should know that. The fourth thing is to be concise, but to also provide detail. To be concise, it's when you're sharing an information. It should be very clear what you want to express, but also if asked for additional detail, you should be able to provide that. You should be able to just provide more information on why, who, where, what you're going to do. The fifth thing, which is very, very important, is to be quick to respond. It's harder to keep track with emails. We often forget. Often people joke that their email turned into a galaxy, into a constellation, stars, like important emails to go back to and reply to people. That's why if you use Facebook, and it will be easier to contact people and reply to them at the moment. But if you want to be more professional and if you're reaching out to other NGOs and that people that you in general don't know of, email is the best way. But also responding is very, very essential and important. The sixth thing is to post updates. How many letters were received? Who sent those letters? Are letters being translated? How many are being translated? When are we going to visit the refugee camps? Who is helping us? All kinds of updates are important and make people realize the impact of their action. If someone sends a single letter, they would want to know if their letter reached out to those people, if it's being translated, if someone read it. They want to be acknowledged, and even if it's not a personal message, that post and that update will let them know that they've been useful. And last but not least, remember to say thank you for every small little thing. People go out of their way to do things for you, and saying thank you and even sending a thank you card, email, just a thank you note is very important and shows that you actually care for the actions of others. And if you come to do a second cross-country collaboration project on a different team, they will be willing to help you again, because you're not just okay, you did your thing, I benefited from it, and that's it. Always remember to say thank you, thank you, thank you. People appreciate it, really. They really do.
Wonderful. Thank you so
And
much, Shebi.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
I mean, your project is just so inspiring. We are getting some chats in the chat box. Everyone, I think there's still some issues with people chatting just to the panelists, which is great because we love seeing those chats, but we want everyone to see those chats as well. We see Naziha from Tunisia, YES Alumni, who helped with the project. We have Husam, Nazia's son, yes, who also helped with translating the letter. That's so great. I think Bridget also asked a question for you, Shebi. Did you and your team read every single letter that you got?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
With it, sometimes in the library, and people were looking at us with all those letters. Yes, but some of the letters were very small, just messages of compassion and words of encouragement, but others were 2 pages long, 3 pages long. So I'm happy to have received support from YES Alumni and both my friends from high school and from a YES Alumni in Tunisia, Morocco, and Gaza.
Great.
It just shows the power of building relationships too. As Jennifer and Héla said, cross-country collaboration, it's all about building relationships. And it's nothing more important than human interaction in this world.
That's great. Yes. And now that's so important. I love the hearts, Jen. I don't know how to make one, but that was one of my favorite tips. Just knowing that it's all about building relationships. And we have everyone here, so I think we can start the Q&A.
Yes, please. So in the chat box, go ahead and continue to ask your questions, share the commentary. I think we had a question for Jen and Héla, right?
Yeah, we had a question about building relationships. Speaking of building relationships, one of our question was, as experts in virtual collaboration, what do you think about using social media to build relationships and to connect? I know a lot of our YES alumni are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. What do you think about YES alumni using social media, and how should they use it?
I can start and then let Héla add in, as well as the TEARN team does use social media quite a bit, as we do as well in the US, and for connecting. I think it's a great way, once you've built a relationship with someone, to stay connected with their lives in a bigger way. I don't think it should be the only way that you connect. I think there's different functions for different social media tools and what they're built for. And you'll find that with any successful collaboration, you're probably using a multitude of tools. So it's one thing in the toolkit to use, taking something off and putting it on email, or even just a personal messaging to do more in-depth planning is helpful. Arranging for video calls so you can connect like this is helpful. So it's one tool in the arsenal, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Jennifer. Maybe it is the quickest way for young people to connect. That's true. But if you want it to be more personal, you don't use Facebook, do you? So social media, yes, but not only, because otherwise it doesn't really build the strength and the relationship in terms of sustainability. It is something you do on the spot. You respond to a message, but that's it. In the long term, you do need other tools, and the tools are there. And you can send emails. You can use the platform. You can use other tools that can be really that can lead to sustainability.
Okay. So just to clarify, as far as like a project like Shebi's Letters of Hope, it's awesome to use social media to like reach out, gain that support. But when it comes to maybe establishing and maintaining those relationships, maybe with Shebi supporters, then maybe connecting on Skype or using another tool would be best to get that one-on-one time and maintain that relationship. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Shabi now has got lots of friends around the world because they have been helping around with the translation, and now they know her more personally. They are maintaining this relationship, which is absolutely crucial to the future, because this time there were those refugees. Next time they will have another project to work on, and she has got the competence, the skills needed for just to answer, to address another issue. Right. So yes, this is very important as well.
Great. So we're also going to go ahead and launch another poll so we can get a quick understanding of how some of the people who are attending today have collaborated with YES alumni from other countries as well. Okay, we have some votes coming in.
Oh, we have both virtually and in person. All right. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
So I have another question. So what would you say to somebody who maybe a YES alumni or staff or anybody who really wants to do cross-country collaboration, and either they need some advice or they need some support, but they're just a little bit nervous about contacting somebody that they don't know very well? What would you tell them? And this is for all three of our wonderful panelists.
Yes, I would say just get started. Don't wait. Go ahead, get started, and talk your heart. This is it. That's very important. Everything is about emotions. Everything is about sharing. And sharing your emotions is not a secret. It doesn't need to be kept as a secret. It needs to be there, and show it. Don't be afraid of it. And you'll see how the ties will be strengthened. That's my share. I don't know what Jennifer has to say.
Sure, I put in the chat box, and in our sharing as well, there was the, collaborate with a group of partners or alumni, or if you're looking at doing something across countries and are intimidated about getting started, start by just sending your message out to a group instead of one person, or building off of maybe some of the connections you have or friends of friends. But when you reach out to many people, you'll get encouraged when some of them respond and write back and give feedback and support. Whereas if you're going just one at a time, you might get discouraged if you don't receive a response. So that's where strength in numbers is good.
That's so true, Jen. That is so true.
Yeah. Shebi, what about you? Did you feel like
I want to add one more thing. Probably get a mentor or a supervisor and ask him how would be more appropriate to do the collaboration, to just reach out to more people.
Yeah.
Or a person who has done the same project in the past or a similar project and they have experience asking people and reaching out to people. They might give some helpful advice on the topic, and you might utilize this advice and integrate it into your project.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that. And I had one more question for Shebi, if you all don't mind. Just for the YES alumni, what would be your advice to, a lot of our alumni are ready to implement their projects. So what would be your advice to these alumni who really need international support, as you did with Letters of Hope? Just if you could give one piece of advice to our YES alumni, what would it be?
One piece of advice.
Shebi has two more.
I know you have a lot. Oh man.
It's hard to choose one. Well, as Helen said, just do it. Go with whatever your heart says and reach out to as many people as possible. And also to have such connections. YES alumni have to attend workshops, and virtual workshops or just online or regional events where they get to know people and they have those connections that they can later reach out to those people. Yeah. Attending is important to build those relationships, and later on you have someone to connect to, because connecting to someone that you don't know or have never heard of is a bit scarier.
Yeah, it is. It is very scary. But it's possible. So I guess like the theme of this start. Just do it. So that's awesome. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you. Gloria, I think there's a question. Oh, okay. Christina's asking a question in that chat for alumni that are here. What are some ideas that you have for cross-country collaboration? We have some alumni who are here that are chatting, but it's coming to this panelist. So Gloria is trying to also make sure that everyone sees their questions. But if we can have some alumni just share some ways ideas that they have for cross-country collaboration.
Yeah, I know, Shebby, your project actually inspired some other alumni to collect letters of hope for different types of refugees, and it kind of trickled out among our network, and the iEARN office here, we actually participated in that, and it was very meaningful for us to see the ripple effect of your project, which had started so many months earlier.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I think we're about to wrap up, but I just wanted to thank our great expert panelists, Héla and Jen. You covered a lot of that nitty gritty, you know, those little details that sometimes we forget about when it comes to collaboration and how important they are. And it was really wonderful to see this great relationship that you two have built.
You are really welcome. I was so much inspired by Shebby's story.
I agree. I think we all learned so much from Shebby's work, and then the participants that are here to support her again, and you know, just sharing out that impact. Christine is also mentioning that she knew about a project where an alumnus in Bangladesh mentored an alumnus in Sierra Leone to develop an online fundraising campaign for a scholarship fund. So even just that mentorship of providing advice to each other, I think are strong components of how to do cross-country collaboration.
Yeah, and Nazir seems to like the attending of as many workshops as possible. He likes that. It's something new to learn from every workshop. So, and more networking.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. I look forward to seeing and hearing more about all the great projects, not just from YES alumni from in the iEARN world and just in the general global education field, as we all work together to make the world a better place.
Yes, please submit your stories about your wonderful connections, networking, and projects at yesprograms.org. Don't forget, we love your stories. And thank you for tuning in. We really look forward to seeing you at the next alumni webinar.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.